Hello everyone, I'm Matt Evans and welcome to Board Game Replay. If this is your first time joining us, this is a series where we're trying to capture the excitement and the experience of playing a board game with friends. The way we do that is you're going to be joining us for a post-game discussion where we're going to be talking about all kinds of different elements of the game, we're going to be bantering with each other, talking about strategies, and during that discussion we'll be cutting back to replay clips of fun or exciting moments that happened during our actual game. So that sounds like fun to you, stick around, we're going to get to it in just a bit. Alright, now the game we're going to be playing today is a Game of Thrones board game, 2nd edition. And I'm really excited about this one because I've been dying to get this to the table for a really long time, and finally, it's going to happen today. So, before we jump into the game, I'm going to give you all a quick rules overview so you kind of know what's going on in this game so our discussion makes sense to you. But if you're already someone who knows what's going on in this game and you already are familiar with it, you just want to watch the main discussion, click right here to jump to the main part of the video. Basically, every round of this game begins with the exception of the first round, every round of the game begins with the Westeros phase. And the Westeros phase is where we draw a card from each of these 3 decks, and it's representing something happening in the world that all the players have to deal with. They can be good things, they can be bad things, but for example, we could have famine, and famine can strike the land and all of our supplies get reduced by 1, limiting the sizes of our armies or potentially killing off our larger armies because we can't feed them all. Other things can happen, like the wildlings can attack, which is like a neutral faction that comes down from the north, and they're just really nasty. They can do lots of bad stuff to you. Things like that. That's the Westeros phase. And then we move on to where the main game starts to begin, and that's the planning phase. During the planning phase, all players are going to be placing their order tokens. I'm going to give you a picture up here on the side so you can see the various order tokens. Players are going to be placing these order tokens, which they keep behind their screen, on every space of the board where they control at least 1 unit. And these order tokens are going to represent orders that they're giving to the units on those spaces. And now this is all done simultaneously with all the players placing these tokens on all the spots that they control with the units, and no one actually knows what you're playing. And again, you're allowed to claim whatever you want, you can make alliances, you can make deals, but the interesting part about this game is at no point can anything ever change hands. You can never trade people any currencies or actually make any real promises or show any other players the tokens that you're placing down. All you can do is make promises and then keep them or break them by your own choice. So all players are going to place these tokens face down, and I'll explain a little bit about what they do in just a moment. And once they're all placed down, at the end of the phase, they're all going to be turned face up, and everyone's going to be able to see all the orders that have been placed across the map. And now the action phase happens, which basically means it's time to resolve every single token that's on this board. And now you can probably understand why a sample round would take a long time in this game. It does tend to take a little bit, because the way this happens is that there's a specific order the tokens to be resolved. They actually start with raid orders, which are that little torch, and then you do march orders, which is the little axe, and then a consolidate power order after that. And the other 2 orders are used in conjunction with the march order, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But basically that's what you're going to do, and it's in turn order. Each player is going to resolve 1 of that type of token. So let's say there's somebody had played a raid order, and the first player in this case is Baratheon, so Baratheon is going to resolve 1 of his raid orders, and it's going to go on to the next player who resolved 1 of theirs, and so on and so forth until all the raid orders have been removed from the map, and that's what happens with all the other order types as well. Now I mentioned I wanted to get to how combat works in this game, and the way combat works is through this march order here, the axe. And when you play a march order on a space, and it comes your turn in the action phase to resolve a march order, you can move 1 of your units, or any number of your units, or 0 of your units, to an adjacent space. When you do that, if you land on a space with another player's piece, any number of their units, you're going to begin in battle immediately. And whenever a combat's triggered, players are going to add up the combat value of any units they have on that space. So combat value of units is pretty simple. Your basic footman counts as 1, a knight counts as 2, and if you have a siege engine and you're attacking a stronghold, it counts as 4, but otherwise strongholds have no effect. They're basically an offense only against strongholds or keeps type of item. But anyway, you're going to compare the combat value of your units versus your opponent's units. So let's say, for example here, I marched these 2 units into this space over here. I've got a knight and a footman versus a knight. So I've got a combat score of 3 against a combat score of 2. The next thing we do is each player is going to pick up their deck of cards, which contains all kinds of special characters from your house. And they all add another combat score up here. So whatever you have for units, you're going to add whatever card you play, their value to that combat score. Each player is going to secretly choose a card, and they're going to play it face down. And once they've both played a card, you reveal it at the same time, and you resolve. Whoever has the highest combat number wins that combat. If there's a tie, you're going to use the fiefdoms track. I'm going to show another image of the influence track here to show you where the fiefdoms are. That second track down, the fiefdoms track, shows the order of tie breaking. So the higher you are up in that track, the you basically win ties against the units that are below you. So I'll get more to that track in just a second just to explain how that works, but basically all these cards have a combat value at the top and then some special text that might do something particularly nasty when you play it against your opponent as well. So now that I've explained combat, basically, I can explain what the other some of the other order tokens are. So you've got that defensive one, which is basically the suit of armor, which you can see up here. It's a big suit of armor, and it's got a +1 on it. And what that does is, if you've played that order on a space where you are attacked by an opponent, your defense on that space is boosted by 1, or whatever the number says. So that's a pretty straightforward one. And now the support token is that fist. This is one of the cooler elements of the game, because wherever you've played a support token, I'll see if I can set up a quick example over here. Let's say a combat happens in this space down here. I move one of my units over to this space, and I'm going to start a fight. I now have the option of adding the combat strength of my units over here to this adjacent space because I have a support token down there. So basically this support token lends its aid and combat strength to any adjacent space that has a combat there. The nice part about this is it's by choice. So you could have two other factions fighting in a space adjacent to you, and you can decide to help them or not, help either side in that combat. And those support tokens, they say they're for the entire round. They don't just go away like the other tokens do after they're used. So this creates some really interesting, fun politics where you can promise one thing, I promise to support you in battle, and then just do the exact opposite, give your combat strength to your opponent, to their opponent instead. So really, really fun stuff can happen with support tokens. The Consolidate Power token, that order is basically a way to gain currency in this game. It's one of the few ways that you can do that. Currency in this game is power, and all these houses have their own individual power tokens out here. And when you play a Consolidate Power token on a space, you gain 1 power token for playing that order. If you play a Consolidate Power token on a space with a crown printed on it, like this one right here, that will get you an additional. So you get 2 power tokens of playing a Consolidate Power on that space. And lastly, I'm going to explain the raid order. And the reason I say this for last, even though it's the first one that you resolve during the round, is because I had to kind of explain what the other tokens do to explain this. So a raid order basically allows you to, if you've played it on a space, you can eliminate any other adjacent raid orders that are played. Kind of cool, you can hit the other players before they hit you. You can also use it to destroy any one support order that's been played, which is really strong. You can, maybe a support order that somebody was counting on, you can just blow it up, which is awesome. The other thing you can do is you can destroy someone's Consolidate Power token, which is great, because if they're about to get a bunch of power tokens, they're counting on 2 or 3 from one of those spaces, you can just blow that thing right up, and you even get a benefit from that as well. So it's a really cool ability, but it can be canceled out by other players. It makes it really interesting. I just want to mention for the last part of the order tokens, every player also gets these special order tokens, which are the same exact thing, but they just have a star on it. For all the basic orders, your march, your defense, your support, it basically just gives them a +1 value to that. So they're 1 stronger than they would be normally. For the raid order, it allows you to do what the raid order normally does, but you can also destroy somebody's defense in addition to that, which is really cool. And the upgraded version of the Consolidate Power token, that little star there, that'll actually allow you to muster units on the board on that specific space that you've played. So I never really talked about mustering units, but it's basically a way to bring them in on the board. It doesn't happen that often, and it only happens at certain spots on the map if you control them, strongholds and keeps and things like that. So it's not that frequent that it happens in the game, so playing these special order tokens on those spots, really, really cool. But now that I've mentioned them, I'm gonna go back to that influence track that I showed you earlier. This influence track represents 3 different things, and these can constantly be shuffling around throughout the game. So something will happen during the game to tell players to rebid on the influence tracks. And when that happens, players are actually going to be using those power tokens that they've been earning throughout the game through those Consolidate Power orders or other game effects, and they're going to bid for these positions. And these positions are really nice to hold. The higher you are up on the track, really the more power you have in various situations of the game. So I'll quickly explain what each of them does. As I mentioned before, the turn order is based on the Iron Throne. So in the Iron Throne turn order, the person at the very top of that is the first to go every turn. He's the first one to resolve his very first token, and he also is able to break ties. So the person in control of the Iron Throne, they can just, whenever there's a tie for other various game effects, with the exception of combat, they can just determine the winner of the game, the winner of that particular thing, which is really cool. The next track is the Fiefdoms track, and that helps break ties in combat. I did mention that briefly. The higher you are up on the track there, basically you beat everybody else in ties that's lower than you on the track. In addition to that, you'll also get this Valyrian Steel Sword token here, and this can be used once per game round to give you a little 1 combat boost. You can exhaust this token to give you a boost in combat for one more, which is pretty helpful sometimes. Then the last track here is the King's Court track. And you'll notice there's a number of stars next to the player's tokens the higher they go up the track. and that represents the number of special order tokens that they're allowed to play. So players are going to want to be higher up here in the track. They can play more powerful orders when that happens. In addition to that, the player holding the highest position gets the Messenger Raven token, and the way this is used is at the end of the planning phase. Once all players have revealed all their orders and they're face up, the player can exhaust this token, turn it face down, and they can switch out one of their unused orders with any of the ones that they've placed on the board. So it gives them the ability to kind of switch things up after they've seen what people are playing. It can also be used to view the top card of the Wildling deck. I kind of briefly talked about Wildlings before, but they're a neutral threat that can come into the game a couple of different ways. But when they come in, something nasty typically happens if you fail, so you're going to want to know what comes in those cards, so it's another way to get a little advantage when you use that token. Finally, the last thing I want to mention is that the object of this game, which I haven't even explained to you yet, the object of this game normally in the standard game is to control 7 castles or strongholds, which is what this track represents right here. Once a player reaches that, they win the game immediately, or at the end of 10 rounds, whoever has the most strongholds and keeps controlled will win the game. However, we were playing with the Feast for Crows mini expansion that I mentioned previously, and with that expansion, it changes up the game objectives a little bit. Pretty much everything else in the game stays the same, with the exception of a small mini round at the end of every normal game round. At that time, each player in turn order is going to get a chance to complete a special house objective that basically is essentially for Lannister, control Lannisport and King's Landing. If they fulfill the condition on their objective card, they're going to get a victory point, and they can potentially claim this once per round. In addition to that, players are also going to have 3 of these cards in front of them, and these are hidden cards. No one knows what they are, but they are also different types of objectives. Hold certain areas, do certain things, and for each house in the game, it's worth a different victory point value. All right, so I think that covers it for the basic rules overview. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the YouTube comments below or shoot me an email. But lastly, I don't want to forget this. Fantasy Flight actually makes a really detailed, awesome rules video that goes through all the different phases and tokens in the game and gives you a little more detail than I probably went into here. I want to put a link to that in the description as well, so definitely check that out if you want to know how everything works. With that, I think it's time to get down to the game.
My head's buzzing so hard.
Man, that was intense. That was really intense.
Like a TP in a wigwam? Was it 2 tenths? You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, it was 2 tenths.
That was really intense. That was a surprise victory because, man,
From nowhere.
like let's just first thing we'll cut to a replay of the end so you can see the shock in our faces as to who won this game.
Shock face, like a slow-mo.
Yes, he's got to control water spaces. That's good. So he shut him down. Yay! All right, I have one optional objective to complete.
Do we do it in an order or what?
Turn order. Go ahead. Play one.
I have actually 2 points. 1, 2.
Are you joking? Was that really? What did you? Unbelievable! What was it?
I control the most strongholds. I can't believe you didn't attack me. I cannot believe you didn't attack me here because you had it.
Me.
How many strongholds?
No, you could have come here with this one guy and taken me out with your 4.
How many do you have? How many strongholds do you have?
I have 4.
I do too.
No, you have 3.
Holy
Oh my god!
From the
Totally did not see that coming.
I can't believe you didn't do that.
I had no use for that.
I think basically, like, we're putting the pressure on Jeremy because he was getting points each turn, and he had 5 points. It was 2 more turns, so we would have lost anyway. And while we did that, sneak attack, Isaac over here, came in with a quest card that gave him more than just 1 point.
I looked up at your face when I didn't move into here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, dude. It's not happening. It's not happening.
I was like, wait, do you want him to win? I was like, why am I worried about Matt over here? I was like, this is where the win is going to happen. I was like, I got to put some pressure. I don't want to attack you.
Yeah, I don't think it would have. mattered if I went up there. Anyway,
No, what we had,
right?
what I was trying to do was take over his capital because I would have gotten.
Capital?
You were
No.
hoping for another turn to be able to get over there.
Yeah, because had I been able to take his capital, I would have got 3 points.
Yeah.
Oh, what, Jeremy's?
Yeah, I had.
That's
I had that.
awesome. But what I was
You
going to
got
do,
my card because
my
I
boat
discarded
was
that
here.
one.
Jeremy didn't have a boat in there, and I was going to use all these guys
Oh.
to attack his capital.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
I was like, I'm just gonna go take it. And I was like doing the math, and I was like, oh, you know what I need to do? I need to get into a fight so I can use this card and lose, get my big dude back, and then kick his ass. I had it all planned out. It was gonna take like 2 more turns, and the thing is, we didn't have that much time.
That's
Starks,
fantastic.
being the Starks, it's the slowest. You have to plan everything out so much longer because you can only move. You only get 2.
Yeah.
You get no stars.
You get no stars.
So if
especially
I
on
want to
this track.
move, I can only use 2 moves per turn. You guys can do 3.
Yeah.
So it's like I can move this guy here and that guy there, and then it's like I can't do anything
Yeah.
for the rest of the game.
Well, important point to note, like, that was a weird game because at no point did we ever have to rebid on the influence track. That whole
Nope.
game went 4 rounds.
Yep.
And, like, there was nobody bidding on the influence track. It just never came up. There was one chance to do it, but, like, you had it. Why would you do it?
Yeah.
And, like, you were in a good position. Why spend your power tokens? You made a good call.
Yep.
Jesus.
That's
I mean,
good.
that was crazy. Like, that.
And you sneak attacked
That was-
because I really thought Jeremy had it.
Well,
I mean, anybody can have a. I had a 2-point victory card.
Yeah.
Everyone can get a 2-point victory card.
yeah. I had one. Control Castle Black. That's what I was going for. I was trying to sneak my way up to Castle Black, and you put a stop to that. We had this whole agreement made. We'll go back to a clip of that in a second, but we had this whole agreement made. I'm coming up here. I'm like going to make this boat bridge, and
Yeah.
ugh.
So Cam first. Cam move.
I've got the move. Okay, I'm actually going to attack Matt.
I knew you were going to do that, you piece of crap. I knew you were going to do that. Like, you're way too happy to let me go up there. That's fine. So it's 1-1, right?
It's 1-1. You've
Oh, I get support here. Ha! Ha! No, it's defense. Damn it!
Yeah, it's defense.
I could have played a support there and I didn't. What am I thinking?
1-1. So 1-1.
I trusted you.
So even if you put a 2.
If I put a support there, I would have had a +1.
So it's 1.
You're gonna pay for that one, man. I promise you that.
Okay, I played a card.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Which one did I actually play? Hang on, this one. Ready?
Yeah.
Mine doesn't do anything. You're gonna kill my freaking dude. You suck. You suck. You know what?
Matt, you know what though? I didn't believe you really needed to come up here. And you know what though? I should have let you do it because what I really thought, when you didn't move the 1 unit and you had your boat where your big units were,
Yeah.
I thought you were trying to get a bridge to just take over my capital.
And honestly, though, for pretty much the entire game so far, I had lied to everybody. Like,
That's the thing is I was like, Matt needs this.
Dude.
I was like, he's gonna take my capital. I'm the Starks. I can't let him do that. I was like, I have to stop him right here.
Yeah, you did. You did
And,
the right
and
thing.
then when I got that quest to take the arbor, which is on the other side of the board, and I can't do it with a ship, I have to
many
do it
points
with
is
a
that?
unit. It was only 2 points.
2 points for you.
But I'm saying, so I need 3 ships in order to even get down there.
That's rough. I mean, I spent the first
2 ships.
like
whatever.
starting this game as Lannister. The first time that we had played this, Lannister just ran away with a victory. I think in this game scenario, Lannister starts out with a super fortified position, and it's insanely like if you leave them alone for 2 or 3 rounds,
If you can't take
you can't
King's
touch
Landing.
them. You can't touch them.
If you can't take King's
So-
Landing, they will.
Yeah, and I volunteered. I wanted to play Lannister this time because I wanted to try that position out. I wanted to try to do some work the politics, try to find a way to not have everybody
By
murder
working the
me.
politics, you attacked every single person.
I think you also-
attacked everybody once.
I think
At
you
least
also
once.
had the
I didn't
pressure.
attack Isaac.
Oh yeah, yes you did.
Yeah, you did.
You attacked me, Rob.
I was just
hang on.
about to say, like,
No,
the
let's-
whole beginning of the game was us going at each other.
I think you also had the pressure of when we played the last game and I won as Lannister, everyone knew. We all went after you immediately.
Right.
Because we were
I wanted
like-
to challenge that.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to see if I could play
And
Lannister
you
and
can tell
not
by
get crushed.
the scoreboard, like, we just kind of like forgot about everybody else. It was
I think
like,
that's-
boom, like, get Lannister because he's going to win if we don't take him down. And then when you actually volunteered to back out of King's Landing, I was like, he just gave up his 1 point per round.
Yeah, like let's
I was
look
like,
at
that's-
that. I'm doing that because I'm going to step out of King's Landing, Isaac. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I don't want to be a target. I got this guy. He's going to come in and you guys are going to double team me. Are you sniffing right now?
Smelled bullshit.
I'm not. I'm going to walk out. I think I know what you're going to do.
you
but
gonna
you're not going to need it. I'm telling you. I swear to God, I'm going to make a deal with you, and I'm not lying to you.
Really?
I don't trust Jeremy one bit. He's going to make a promise with you, and he's going to pound you. Trust me, I'm going to walk out of King's Landing next turn. I seriously will. Watch. Let me show you why. If I thought about killing you, Would I muster a siege engine into my own space? That does nothing to you. I'm building a unit that has no effect. I mean, yes, I could take this guy, but what do I want that for? There's nothing there. I'm telling you that I'm going north and I'm pushing Jeremy back because I don't like that he controls that whole point. I don't like him controlling this bridge. You want?
I'm going to support myself here. Move into the bay and attack me. I'll kill you.
You can't support.
Just sacrifice your boat.
Okay.
So you're gonna.
If that's what you want me to do, I will walk my boat out there. But can you put a support token here? I'll let you have that fight. Can you support here? So if Jeremy screws me over here, you can support me?
Yeah.
Because that's where he's going to want to go.
Yep.
Isaac, you son of a that's so not a support token at all. You're such a That's not a support token in any way.
It's not. What do you think I am?
Isaac, I'm going to stick to my word as I said I would.
Yeah.
It's my turn to resolve a move.
As you see, I stuck to my word, so I would appreciate you not attacking me first.
Yeah, that's totally
Letting me
fine.
retreat.
That's totally fine.
Or you're attacking me first.
Totally, yeah, totally. Basically, I was like, I'm not going to sit here and let all of you guys gang up on me.
You were very polite to me.
I walked out of King's Landing to let Isaac have it, and then I had a card to kill Jeremy at the same time.
Here too.
And then everybody hated me.
I think we just didn't trust that your agendas were true.
That's fair. I mean, I certainly wasn't that trustworthy. Dude, that combat that we had was
Which
so
one?
fun where you're like, if you play anything else, you just play as long as you play a 0 or a 1. I'm like, Isaac, I'm not even going to play anything. I didn't even realize it. I was literally going to let you have King's Landing without a fight, and then after the fight started, I went, oh wait, I might actually be able to win this. I'm going for it. Like, I was totally like, it made perfect sense that you steamrolled me. I pissed off Jeremy first turn because I moved out because I had an objective to kill him. I was like, I'm going to give
You
up
didn't even
King's
need to kill it though. All you need to do is take it. You just killed me for out of spite.
No, I didn't kill you there, did I?
Yeah, well, you attacked.
I
You
played
didn't
the
kill
guy-
any. No, you killed one of my.
No,
units.
he backed out to back out.
Yeah,
he
you
attacked
used the triple sword.
See.
Don't you have, yeah,
Yeah,
you used the
I
triple
did.
sword.
Oh, that's right.
I played the mountain. I played the mountain on him.
I had 2 units. You used the triple sword. I used the double block, so I still lost 1.
That was
For no reason.
no.
I
see
was
it.
no combat for like a while
Yeah.
because you're way up here and you're really far away, and like I almost feel like the strategy to the Stark would be to just conquer all the land and build the money
Right.
to stop him from getting a point each turn to
Or if
have
you just,
more of these.
I mean, you start here. You're 2 spaces away from
the
taking.
problem with that though is this bottleneck here. Even if I got into here, Matt's character has support from all 3 of these places. So all he needs is a support token on each, and like you can't touch anything.
Yeah, didn't we make a deal that you were gonna move here for me?
I backed out. I backed out. so
Did you
could
ever?
have that.
Did you even get there?
No,
Of course you didn't.
no. I actually, what I really wanted was to control 2 harbors, so I got my point.
Yeah.
So when I was like, I just want Jeremy to get out of there. I wanted to get in that harbor, get that point, come out of that harbor,
Yeah,
and
there
then
was a-
steamroll over Jeremy.
There was a point when you were doing that where
Yeah.
that's where I could have taken if I attacked you and won, but
Yeah.
I realized I couldn't win because you had the.
You know what
your
really
start.
screwed me over? When you mustered a boat directly into that sea.
Well, yeah, I wasn't gonna let you.
Because
I knew you weren't. I knew
because your boat was way down there, and I was like,
No.
I've got a couple turns till it comes back.
Right.
I'm going to come back out, and then I'm going to start torching his land.
Yeah, I obviously knew your intentions.
That was what I was like, wait, why are you able to muster a boat right there? And you're like, oh, I just mustered. I was like,
Man, I hated all of you I hated all of you for just a few minutes. Like, you know, those emotes are just like, you...
I actually
Yep.
didn't hate any.
I hated him the whole time. I'm just
Did
kidding.
anybody else attack me once? You didn't attack me.
No.
You didn't attack
I
me
never
either.
attacked you.
No.
You were the.
It's really
Well,
actually...
right at the end.
If you
You're
think
looking at
about
me.
it...
You attacked me like 8 times.
I know I did.
I think you played well for what you did. I mean, you were in a good position. Isaac being able to
I
drop
was
that 2-point card.
I was 1 card away from winning.
It was close.
So
Yeah.
as a Stark, I think it's very hard to get that high up on the board, because
It is, but I mean, you know that. We all know, like...
The only other way is to be more aggressive because you have dominance.
You're given this, but
Yeah.
like you're so far away from everybody, and there's really nothing down there you
Boat
need.
bridges.
You
Yeah.
know, it's like, well, what do I actually
Yeah.
need down there? I need money, and I
need
need like
you need to boat bridge
Right.
like
Boat
crazy.
yeah, I need objectives for up here. And when
Yeah.
you get them down there, you're like, there's no way I can get down there unless I boat bridge.
Yeah, last time I played it. 'cause
Yeah,
this-
you know what? I would have won the game had my first move. I did what Jeremy did and instantly gotten
Like,
that first
just
point.
turbo out there.
No, because
you can
he's
just
right.
roll.
You
start-
start with a boat, and I could have just moved one guy immediately to
Yeah.
that point, and I would have got that first point.
Yeah, you
So I
start-
screwed myself over. I would have had that.
It would have been like a 3-way tie.
Yeah, would have been a 3-way.
But then it still goes to Isaac though because the tiebreaker is
Right, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I actually hold the sword, so
But, yeah.
You can stab him and
Again, we're playing this obviously with the Feast for Crows expansion. I mentioned that a few times, but this where we play with objective cards, and the main game doesn't actually have these. The main game is just controlling either 7 strongholds, or it's just gaining to 7 victory points, or getting to. I mean, sorry, these represent the strongholds you control normally.
so
rather
it's like
than
a
victory
domination victory.
Yeah, and or you get to round 10, whoever controls the most at that point. Like that's the objective of the game. So in a 6-player game, it's really intense. And in addition to that, we don't do the that step every turn where we adjust the supply track. That doesn't happen every
Right.
turn. That only happens when certain events say so. Because we're playing with the
Yeah.
first deck is all different stuff. A lot of people said this basically is a way to play the game 4-player. It's really balanced and it's a lot faster. Like the 6-player game is 3 to 4 hours. Like I mean.
And
This was
they
2
do a really good
hours.
job at balancing it
This is
out.
2 hours with 4 players, and like look
Yeah.
at how long we spent in combat. It was like
And we only
3,
did
4,
4
5 minutes.
rounds.
Yeah, it was only 4 rounds. So I think it's interesting. I mean, this was all of our second time, or it was your guys' second time. It was my third time playing, but we're already picking up on different strategies. Like we were towards the end of the game, we were pretty certain that like Jeremy had this. Like,
I thought he did.
Even
until
like-
Isaac
well, you
came in
certainly
with,
tried
like,
convincing everyone.
oh yeah, let's definitely like
Which is also a strategy in its own to be like, oh, in 3 turns Jeremy wins this unless we put the pressure on. Meanwhile, Matt could have a card that's
Yep.
like,
Yep.
boom,
Yeah.
I win the game.
Yeah,
like
it's
as long
over.
as you don't mess with
Yep.
me.
If I put my wealth here, are you gonna torch it?
No, I won't torch it, but you can't take any more coins almost anyway.
Yeah, it's,
Oh yeah,
can
go
take
for
it,
it, man.
man.
I don't care.
that's just like what I do because it's a little
Yep.
safety. It's a +2 defense.
torch it
Whoa.
anyway. You get a power token.
Oh,
if you
can
do.
I actually have a power token then? Look
No,
how
you
many
can't. You
have.
can't. You can't actually give it to him. You can torch his power control. You can torch his token and take one that way.
You're moving
and
that
then he
in there?
loses one.
That's what I'm saying. Do I get the token?
You get a token
If I-
and he loses a
Do you
token.
mind if I torch 1 token from you, Jeremy?
Just torch it anyway. Who cares?
I do. I think Isaac.
Just do it. Who cares?
Stop trying to cause strife here.
Yeah, seriously.
He needs power tokens.
You're the warrant. No, what for?
You were winning
For
the
what?
game because you have more than anyone. Why would he let
That's
you
my-
keep getting tokens?
Because I've let him keep his things.
You're in the lead too.
So what?
So what? I'm winning. Who cares? Leave me alone. Great opportunity to torch him. I
No.
think you should do it.
I let you keep your strongholds because that's how you get for.
Yeah, so you should let him win the game because of that. Remember, everybody's leaving Jeremy
I forgot
alone.
that.
He's just
Cool.
collecting
Yeah,
power
yeah.
tokens, and he's gonna win
do
this.
another,
If he
dude.
doesn't complete an optional objective, he wins in 2 rounds. He's like, no, I don't need power tokens. I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to lose.
Strategically deflecting.
Strategically deflecting. Anyway, that was good. And I mean, I think what's
That's
cool
great.
about this is like we're all talking now about like we were convinced that Jeremy had it, and we're like already thinking about okay, for the next time we play this game, the strategy is we can't let anybody get out of control. The first time we played, Lannisters dominated. Like they
Yeah.
didn't come close because no one really understood what it
Well,
meant to
yeah,
attack.
the first time Jeremy attacked over here, and it was like not focused on who was actually ahead of
like
the, yeah.
you had that timer
some
that was
scuffles.
going.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah, there's
scuffles up
some
in there
scuffles
over
over
some
there.
bridges instead of over the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think with every time you play this, I love to like. I just want to play this 10 more times because
I look forward to playing. Like I said, I really look forward to getting invited to play the 6-player one.
I wish there was
absolutely
because
man. Block
I think
off a
it'd be
day.
great.
Let's do
Yeah.
it. What
Seriously.
were you say?
I was just saying it does come down to like the side objective cards. I wish there was some way to like I don't know draw new ones or something.
There actually are. We didn't hit them.
like
Yeah, no.
maybe
Last game we had a
right
card
through
that
there.
said draw new.
But that's
cards.
also more right. I wish there was like maybe a forced way to
Watch.
like discard one, draw one.
Yeah, well, that's
No,
like
I know,
the
but
muster card too, though.
You still have to draw that. I'm just saying, like, I wish, like,
it's true.
the way you can force muster with the
Yeah.
power token, I wish
Yeah.
there was, like,
A
get
way
rid
to
of one, draw
that
one.
objective. I guess
Something like
there's
that.
probably a reason for that.
The muster, like when you were like, oh, just wait till you get a muster for the boat. I was like, that could probably never happen.
Well,
Like, it's so rare that it does happen.
Right, I was thinking that you could use the token, but
but I
Stark
don't.
can't.
Yeah,
so.
Stark can't.
Well, Stark can't until this track gets mixed up.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
it
thing.
didn't. The entire game,
that
it
was-
didn't. We only
the
had
person-
one option to
that's
do it
the
this
person-
game.
yeah.
And even when the time came when we had that option, I only had like 5 tokens anyway, so I couldn't bid for it.
Look at this. We're
Plus-
all like maxed out on power tokens.
Yeah.
You can see
Yeah,
it.
we did. We maxed
It
out.
was
pretty
weird
quick.
because last time we were spending tokens left and right. This time, well, I was also Lannister, but this time I feel like I never had tokens until the end of the game, and then they're useless.
We never had to bid in the
Like, you
track.
can't do anything with
Yeah.
them after
The
that.
person who
yeah.
gets to control whether or not you bid is the person who wants to keep all the power anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
why would you ever bid?
Yeah, that's kind
At
of like
the
the
start.
American political system.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had a weird mix of I don't know what these are called, Westeros cards. We had a weird mix of Westeros
Yeah.
cards because they just didn't have the mixing up the track. There's multiple ones in there that make this get voted on,
One-
and that
yeah.
spends power tokens.
One turn was do nothing. So
Do nothing, right?
Yeah.
We had a weird mix. Like that's again, I just want to play it like 10 times because I want to have all these strategies in, and I want to have us like. It's like when we sit down and play coup, like the first and second and third and fourth games, you're like, whatever, like you play a basic
I don't know what I'm
strategy.
doing. Yeah.
But like the 25th game of coup, you're just doing the wackiest crap because
Yeah.
you don't like.
You don't want people to know what
There's
you're doing.
so
anymore.
much like you're so back and forth, like you're not thinking about. There's so much reverse psychology going on.
Yeah.
Like, is he actually doing
it's
that,
like
or
you,
is he lying?
you betraying them early on made me not trust you, which is actually what screwed us over. I
Yeah.
think was the fact that I could have let you come up there and I could have been on Jeremy earlier and not had the pressure. Maybe we could have looked at Isaac. So.
Yeah. The other thing, first turn. So, first turn, we Isaac and I agreed to attack Matt here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then you guys switched it all around, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll just leave.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I was gonna screw over Isaac and support Matt instead of support Isaac in the attack. So, but Matt attacked
left.
me. So.
Yeah, Matt attacked you and
did.
left the
Which
I was
King's Landing all by
crazy.
itself.
I never thought that would have happened.
I gave it up to try to
your
take
fault.
some of the pressure off me.
So basically,
I
what
had
we're
to.
saying is-
Like,
What we're
no, I had
saying
to
is-
because
No, I agree.
no one was going to let
I
me.
was. I just said it 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Why would you
He
let
was
me
gonna,
stay
though.
there?
He was gonna.
Why not?
He was gonna get your back.
If you stay here and guard this side of me, and I'm getting 1 point per game, you're getting 1 point per
Right.
round.
Well, what are
Who
you gonna
cares?
do? Be friends and hold hands until one of us wins before the other person?
until,
Like you're gonna
until you hit 5, and then you're both gonna turn.
well again,
Isn't
this
that
is
what
all hearsay. You're
No,
sitting here going, I was totally gonna help you. Who knows what would have happened in the actual game? If you had gotten a card that was advantageous for you to be here the next turn, you would have crushed me just for fun.
You know, they made a book out of this too.
I heard there's a book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
heard
book,
there's a book or two.
TV show, I heard.
I heard there's a show.
There might. They think they might.
I
be
think
making
I
one.
think the book is based on the show. It's kind of like True Blood, right?
He's laughing.
It's kind of like True Blood.
It's
That's
about
on Nickelodeon. Do you recommend that someone either read the book or catch up on the HBO series in order to actually start playing this game?
I think it definitely makes it more exciting. I mean, Jeremy, you're just getting into it now,
Yeah.
into the series. But
Do you feel lost, or do you feel?
No,
like,
I mean I'm far enough to know. Like I've seen the Irie, and I know like the main towns that are involved. So
Yeah.
at least
the
understand.
main houses, the
Who's
main,
what?
the main
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, and you haven't really, and from where you are, you haven't really gotten into a lot of the serious betrayals and stuff.
Yeah.
But like,
No.
you get the idea of political games.
When I think about it now, what actually screwed me over the most was having watched the television show and the relationship between the Lannisters and the Starks. I was just so pissed at you the whole time. I was like, how am I gonna get them?
I
I
was tapping into that.
Do you know
as
what I mean?
well.
And I was like, I think
definitely
had I not
tapping.
tapped into that, I could have actually seen what I should have done. I had. So maybe it's not the best idea to have watched or read.
Wash.
I appreciate you letting me play.
That was good, man. That was good.
Baratheons have the throne, just so you know.
Right in the end, but that was Thanks for having me.
Good game, good win, Isaac.
care,
All right,
guys.
guys.
See you soon.
Hey, yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. We'll catch you again soon. Take it easy.
I did this.
That's pretty
Get
good.
that on camera? Yeah.